is Tom Swinford. I'm the race director of the Newport Marathon, and this is the Newport Marathon Podcast. And with me today is Rob Weinert, local runner and Boston qualifier, headed for Boston here in next week. So that's awesome. Thanks for being here today, Rob. It's really kind of fun to talk to you. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, especially since you're going to Boston again. It's always a great adventure to do that.
Yes, it's awesome.
Well, one of the things that we want to do today is we want to talk about the Newport Marathon and running the Newport Marathon and running in general, and why Newport is such a great marathon to run and that sort of thing. So that's kind of our goal. So the marathon this year has a real twist to it because the OSAA, the Oregon State Athletic Association, has decided to put the state track meet on the Saturday, the first Saturday after Memorial Day, which is our traditional running of the Newport Marathon. And so that has really kind of forced us to move it to Sunday. So this year it's going to be Sunday, June 1st. And that's throwing a few kinks into it, because just setting up, there are so many teams that are involved in putting this race together that it's really made it a little more complicated. What do you think about that?
From my point of view, there's a lot of marathons that are on Sundays, so I'm kind of used to it, but it is kind of a bummer that you don't get that Sunday to kind of like lay around and recover.
Yeah.
After racing on Saturday.
Yeah.
But so other than that, it's all right, but I'd prefer Saturday.
Yeah.
But you do see a lot of Sunday races. But
the thing too is we've got I think 6 different countries and 30-some different states being represented this year.
Wow.
And having it on a Sunday is, doesn't really give some of those people a chance just to hang around on the beach and enjoy Newport and walk the docks and eat fresh fish and all that kind of stuff.
It throws a kink in travel plans, for sure.
Yeah. So how many marathons have you done now total?
I think like formal marathons, about 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you've done Boston how many times?
Twice.
Yeah.
This will be my third coming up in a week.
How many times have you qualified for Boston by running the Newport Marathon?
Oh, boy. 3 times.
3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 times.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've run
and PR'd in Newport.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What was your PR?
2:53.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Last year.
Wow. And you were the fastest man in Lincoln County, too, more than once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's an award for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That if I
recall.
recall.
Glass ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also
and $100. Yeah.
$100. Yeah. It seems to me you've just kind of redonated that back to the boosters every year.
I can't say that I have. I think that goes into the beer jar.
All right. All right. So that's cool.
But we do sponsor.
Yeah.
We do sponsor.
And you've been a sponsor for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, since like 2009.
Yeah. And so this is the 26th running of the marathon this year. And so you've been doing that then for, 16 years being a sponsor. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. All the money goes to the Newport Boosters, which funds, sports and all that. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the marathon when you were in high school?
Vaguely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I remember it more like when I was in college.
Okay.
And I'd come home right around that time and, the whole Bay Road be blocked off.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What are all those people doing?
So you never had a chance to volunteer at the marathon?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just run it.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I've got a few questions here just to, what brought you to decide to run the marathon anyway? What led you to do that?
I just did it as a total stunt one year. I was like, let's just try to run a marathon today with no training.
Yeah.
And it was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was a total disaster, but got it done.
Yeah.
And then the following year, my brother did it also, and he kicked my butt. and then I was like, okay, it's time to actually train for this.
Okay.
And never let that happen again.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
And it hasn't yet.
No.
And so Riley's not ready to step up and do it again?
I don't know. I just asked him the other day if he had another marathon and, in his legs. And he said maybe under the right conditions. But,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So the challenge is still laying out there.
It's out there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. When you think about running the Newport Marathon, what parts of the course kind of stand out to you?
Parts of the course that stand out. There's a few. It's a flat course, but there's a few hills. You've got the hill going down into Nye Beach area, the hill coming back out of the Nye Beach area, the hill going down by the Coast Guard, the hill going up right after you pass the Oregon Coast Bank on the way out of town, and then that same hill going down on the way back. So I've always got those in the back of my mind. And then the turnaround. That's a big checkpoint. If you're feeling good at the turnaround, it's probably going to be a decent day.
Yeah.
That's
15 miles.
Yeah. You're like, is it 15? Yeah.
Yeah, a little over,
somewhere in there.
A little over 15.
So, if you're dragging at that point, you've got a rough time ahead of you. But if you're feeling good, it's going to probably be a decent day.
Yeah. So when you're coming back from that turnaround, that's really a pretty stretch of road, though. You're running along the bay all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's got to be motivating or assuring you in some way.
Yeah. And the closer you get to Newport, the cooler the temperatures usually become. So, so that's nice. If it's going to be hot that day, it's the hottest at the turn.
Okay.
And so as you get closer and closer to Newport, the temperatures are going to drop and it is going to get better. Yeah. So that's kind of light at the end of the tunnel.
So does the wind ever come up?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if there's wind, that course winds around the river so much that it almost feels like it's a headwind in both directions sometimes.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's a factor too.
Yeah, I've actually raced the course the first 5 years and qualified for Boston every time on the course.
Oh, nice.
In fact, the last time I ran it was at Newport, and I didn't qualify for Boston, and I said, this is the last marathon I'm running until I drop some weight.
Yeah.
And so that's been since 2004.
So you stopped?
So I haven't run a marathon since.
So how long have you been race director of the Newport Marathon?
Well, I've been the race director since actually the transition year was 2007, and I took it over from Bruce Durkee. So 2008 was my first year, and so it's been 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, when the Durkees did it and decided to be done with it, they gave it to the boosters. And the boosters were kind of, they wanted it because it did bring in money for the teams and activities and that kind of thing. But they were a little, oh gosh, what do? We don't know anything about marathoning. And so somebody asked me if I'd be interested in helping out since I was a runner and marathoner and all that. And I said, sure, but it's got to be a team effort.
Yeah.
And the boosters are all about teams and that kind of thing. And so they did. They just jumped in with both feet and said, well, okay, Tom, What was the first year that you really ran a marathon, Rob? The one where you did the crazy stunt and said,
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
It was either 2007, 8, or 9, somewhere in there.
It's all kind of blurry.
It's kind of blurry. Yeah.
That's what happens when you build endorphins for so many years.
It was a memory I try to forget. The first time I said, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
But then a few weeks go by, short-term memory kicks in, and you're like, I kind of want to do that again.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can do that again.
I know.
Yeah.
Rob, I know you're getting ready for Boston.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's probably the same type of training as for any race. I mean, it's got, Heartbreak Hill there at 20 some miles that you got to deal with. And that's probably thrown an adjustment into it. So talk about your training a little bit.
I follow a training plan laid out in a book called Advanced Marathoning. It's Pete Fitzinger.
Oh, yeah. Back in the 90s. Great runner.
And Scott Douglas are the authors of that. And it's like a 12-week training plan. But like before you even get started in this, I kind of developed my own training plan just to get to the starting point, just to set up a foundation. Because they kick you right off at about a 55-mile week.
Oh, wow.
Which, you're susceptible to injury just going from the couch to 55 miles in a week. So I kind of trained myself up to be comfortable in about 45-mile week before I jumped into that.
Training?
Yeah, I do a lot of cross training, rowing, biking, weightlifting. Mm-hmm. And then I follow this training plan that it peaks with 70-mile weeks, 4 of them in a row, and then you just drop off the taper. And so that's where I am right now, is on the taper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and then for like Boston, because of those hills, I try to hit the hills here. Mm-hmm. I try to work in as many hills out in the logging roads as I possibly can, do intervals on hills.
Yeah.
And it's just to try to get ready for, the Newton Hills at mile 20.
I know.
And you want to have enough energy to hit those.
Fatigued already.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you got to maintain pace going up those things.
Yeah.
And then Newport's pretty flat, so I don't have to worry about hills too much, but hills never hurt,
Hills are really good. I mean, they're easier on your knees and everything else running up them. I mean, it's a good way it's actually a runner's strength training program.
Totally.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And we certainly have a lot of hills on the Oregon coast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Is there anything special that you do, like with your diet? Do you focus on any kind of thing?
I try to have a good diet, stay away from processed foods, eat a lot of whole foods. I lean heavy into carbs.
Yeah.
I'm not a keto guy. I've tried it. Not for me.
No.
Not for me.
Yeah.
No energy. It's just, I can't. My body doesn't want to burn fat. It just wants carbs.
It wants, yeah. So do you eat a lot of fish since you live in a fish area?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
Oh.
No. Steak, yes. Chicken, yes.
Okay.
But I don't eat a whole lot of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of, do you do any supplement kind of stuff? Any vitamins and things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right.
Now I take like zinc, magnesium, B6, vitamin D, vitamin C, a multivitamin, all sorts of stuff. Branched chain amino acids.
Yep.
Try to get the recovery going.
Yep.
Creatine.
Yeah.
Try to build,
Yeah.
So all sorts of stuff.
You're a serious runner, and that's why one of the reasons why I wanted you to be actually the first guest is because you are a really good representative of a homegrown boy doing well with the marathon.
Oh, and no alcohol. You got to stay away from alcohol at least a month. I go on a month of abstaining from alcohol completely. Yeah. I tell you, that's like one of the biggest differences that I've seen in performance.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a fun thing about training, and about especially something that's demanding like the marathon is you do try to look for the things that's going to enhance that. You're probably making sure you're getting your 8 hours of sleep a night and all that.
Alcohol plays into that,
Yeah.
You're not going to get a restful sleep with alcohol in your system.
No.
And so you're not going to recover.
Yeah. 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 All that liver work that it has to do with process it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ask about, so have your kids ever run the Newport Marathon or walked? Ask him that.
Has he
Ask about his kids running.
Have you taken your kids out on that course and run the course? Your kids are still pretty small.
Yeah, they're 10 and 8.
Yeah.
Yes, but they have done their fair share of running. I've got both of them into several 5Ks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And they love it?
I wouldn't say they love it. They get into that pain cave and they're not used to pushing through.
Yeah.
But I stay there with them and talk them through it. And then, when you cross the finish line, it's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's
I
difficult
get
with kids.
being a coach at the high school, I get track and cross country athletes that ask me, oh, coach, I'm going to run the marathon this year. And I go, no, you can't do it until you're out of high school.
Yeah.
Just simply because of how much it taxes a young body. I know there's people that do and people that would disagree and all that, but no way. Being a coach for so long, I see what damage just regular exercise will do to growing bodies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's damaging, man. It
hurts. You have to be real careful with it. Yeah, you do. All those growth plates and things that are happening, you have to be careful.
Oh, yeah.
What kids are introduced to.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. So they'll come down and cheer you though, and they'll be there along the curb somewhere. Do they have a favorite spot to be?
Nye Beach.
Yeah.
It kind of loops around in Nye Beach, so I usually get to see them twice there. Yeah. Then when we go down to the main drag on the bayfront, I see them down there too.
Oh, cool.
Usually by the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Bob Thompson's little post there.
Yep. Will they
bottom of that hill I was talking about? Yeah.
Will they be at the finish line then, cheering you in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's cool. Sometimes they make it out on the Bay Road somewhere too.
So wave. When you're out running, do you get a lot of cheers from people that know you and holler?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. When you're running in a race like that, you kind of develop a pack of people that you're kind of stuck with the whole time.
Yeah.
Until they slowly just start to drop or speed off or whatever.
Right.
They've been like, what's the deal, man? Why does everyone know your name? What are you the mayor here or something? It's like, no.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You were even president of the boosters, weren't you?
I was at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're pretty involved with this whole booster thing and what we do. So Rob, if somebody has never run the Newport Marathon before and they're coming to run it for the first time, any things to note or any suggestions?
Be ready for like come with a few different dress options, I guess, depending on what the weather is going to be. And remember, it does get warm out towards Toledo, and it does cool off as you come back into Newport, and it will start, obviously much cooler than the day is going to be overall later. So that would be a suggestion. A few dress options, sunscreen, sunblock, definitely a big one. And probably don't bomb that hill right by the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Just because it's early. I see a lot of people do it. It's early. Everyone's feeling good. They're not thinking about the 20 plus miles in front of them. And they just bomb down that hill and blow up their quads and just disappear. Never see them again.
Yeah.
So just don't bomb that hill. Take it easy. Drink fluids early and often.
So on the aid stations out there, they're all run by the kids, the various athletic teams.
Yeah.
Are there any that kind of stand out, or any
Swim team.
the swim team?
Yeah,
does?
yeah.
Okay, because it's a turnaround,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, my kids are on the swim team too.
Oh, all right. Okay.
A standout in like what regard?
Oh, I was just thinking, we give an award to the team that does the most enthusiastic job.
Oh.
And we usually quiz people that come in and how are the aid stations, and they'll often say, "Oh, it was such and such." Wrestling one year,
Yeah.
was a great place. They had music, and it was
They're out there like by the windy.
yeah, they're
towards
out
Toledo,
by the
kinda?
13-mile mark
Okay.
going out.
They have stood out before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they get out and they get way down the course before you even get to the aid station,
wow.
and they kind of line the